Hey everyone, I'm Deli, this is Imagination, and I'm going to read some fanfiction. Yay, a new icon, which may change constantly, but anyway, this is part 2 of Unda's MC Escher from Archive of Our Own. I should have the link of the fiction at the bottom of the video, so please feel free to read the original fiction and support the author. As always, I've added the tags if you wanted to read that, so you have been warned. And finally, I may continue to work on more chapters and possibly other fan fictions, but they will be more likely not as detailed in order to get it done faster. Without further ado, enjoy part 2. The three of you land on the lawn ring at the edge of Houston, and the disciple rushes outside the moment that her keen eyes catch sight of you through the window. "Oh my goodness, are you okay, Car Kitty?" she gasps, pulling you from Sai's grip and onto her own. You're totally drowned in her chest and her cloud of hair. "I'm fine, but look," you say, holding your arm up in front of her face as she carries you inside, leaving the other two adults outside alone talking quietly. "OMG," she gasps, pronouncing each letter individually. Inside, there are already 5 other kids sat at the breakfast table, though Solix and Matuna seem barely awake. "You got your soul mark," Nepeta exclaims, leaping up on top of her seat. Cancri dutifully signs Nepeta's words for her, though Mulin could easily have seen the mark on her own. She's deaf, not blind. "Did you really need to go to the hospital just for that?" Matuna asks with a thick lisp. "Obviously he's hurt too. Look at all the bandages, dumbass," Solak says without a lisp. He recently lost his front teeth, and it's improved his speech drastically. He no longer sounds like a dumbass all the time. "No swearing," Cancri scolds and signs at the same time. Matuna gnashes his teeth together and slams his hands on the table. "Tits, piss, dick, shit, fuck!" Matuna screams, pointing a finger at the outraged Cancri. Nepeta and Mulin are laughing loudly, and Solux is just drinking the milk from his cereal bowl. "Tuna," Diz sighs, putting you down in the chair between Cancri and Solux. "I'm sure I didn't just hear a ton of swearing coming from in here," your ancestor says lowly as he comes into the room with Sai's hand on the small of his back. "Cancri told Tuna not to," Nepeta explains through her giggles. Well, Sai mutters and wanders off, leaving the other adults to talk and Cancri to insistently demand punishment from Mituna. "You look bad," Solek says under the ensuing cross-table argument. "Yeah, but I got this," you whisper as Cancri blathers about his swear box. You pull your pajama sleeve up and reveal the soul mark. "That's too cool. It looks like a video game box. Your soulmate must be so cool." Solix gasps and nods. "None of the others have any marks yet, even the older kids who are all 9. "You think they're older than me?" you ask, peering down at it again. "Maybe, or they could just really like swords a lot," Solix suggests. You tense. You can still remember the sting of your skin splitting open and the fear and pain that you felt. You're not really sure that your soulmate is keen on swords. "I'm hungry," you mumble, rolling your sleeve back down. "Here you go, kiddo. You're staying home from school today. Sai's gonna keep an eye on you as he works, okay?" Diz says, setting a bowl for you down on the table as your ancestor puts out cereal and milk and takes himself a bowl of his own. You munch your cereal slowly as the other kids finish up their breakfast and get ready for school, with the adults chasing them about to make sure that they all do it in time. The only person who doesn't need chasing is Cancri, because he's a stuck-up goody two-shoes. He emerges from the hallway all neatly dressed with his bag in hand and stares at you, catching you in the act of sneakily giving yourself a second helping of cereal. "Hey, you nearly died in your sleep. You deserve it." "The sign list says that you got your soul mark. Can I see it?" Cancri asks. You hesitate, weighing up having to let him see it against his lecture if you don't. You live with the guy, though. He's your, as the humans would call it, brother. Although you say that he's your brother because you being wrong annoys him just as much as him being insulted. He's going to see it sooner or later anyway. You pull up your sleeve and hold your arm out for him as he comes closer to look, peering at the sword. You feel weirdly naked under his gaze, and you have to resist yanking your arm back and hiding the mark. It feels private. "Why a sword and stairs?" Cancri wonders out loud. You shrug and hide the mark again. Mulin comes into the room, and eventually your ancestor and Diz manage to herd everyone else in too, and then out to the cars for school. "Call me if anything changes. If I need to come home, just," Signless says quietly to Sai at the door. "I've got it. Go." he replies and shoves your ancestor out of the door with his brain powers. Then it's just the two of you standing in the hallway. Your guardian looks down at you and grins, showing his jagged teeth. "Wanna go research soul mark stuff?" he asks you with a grin. "Yes," you exclaim. You need answers, and you need them now. The pair of you rush to Sai's office where he does his computer job all day, and he pulls you into his lap and opens up the internet. You might be missing school, but you're sure learning a lot. This is what you learn. You're young to get a soul mark, but it does happen. Usually this young is because something bad and scarring happened to your soulmate, or they're older than you. The second related thing that you learn is usually soul marks appear on both people at the same time, even if it's 3 or more people together, like your guardians. But apparently, that's different if they're all together, or if it's one person with 2 soulmates in the middle, or... It's complicated. The first part of your soul mark is usually a core part of who a person is. The other stuff is done later. First parts are usually things that don't change, so people who will always be artists or musicians make that kind of mark. So it's feelings or talents or experiences. Sai scrolls past example soul marks with crashed cars at the center. Bad stuff sticks too, and deep down you know that this sort is a bad thing. Something bad happened to your soulmate. You wonder what your soulmate is going to get for you. You like watching movies, but that's not really everything about you. You've not got any talents like your siblings. What makes you different from everyone else? You look down at one of your bandages and see where it's stained through from the other side with your mutant red. You hope that it's not that. You don't want that to be who you are. Is it going to hurt when it gets bigger? You ask Sai. It shouldn't have hurt this much at all. Nothing here says about injuries coming up, not even in the doom and gloom section here. Sai answers, clearly frustrated. Great. The woman at the hospital was right. You are weird. Stupid mutant blood. You hate it. What about this bit? You ask, holding your arm up and pointing at the ring of stairs on it. I've seen that before, Sai says with a grimace as he tries to think. He types a few things on the computer, but he's going too fast for you to read what he's writing. You lean your head back against his chest and watch a few of his bees drift lazily overhead as they bring in flower stuff from outside to their hive that does something for Sai's computer. You don't really get it, but Solix is way into learning about this stuff. You guess you're just not as smart as him. If you were, then that might be the kind of thing that your soulmate would get on their arm. Huh, that's weird, Sai finally says, and you look back at the screen to see a nearly identical set of stairs on the screen. That's it, you yell, pointing at them. M.C. Escher was a Dutch graphic artist who made mathematically inspired woodcuts, lithographs, and mezzotints. His work features mathematical objects and operations including impossible objects, exploration of infinity, reflection, symmetry, perspective, truncated and stellated polyhedra, hyperbolic geometry, and tessellations. Sai reads with a frown. What? You blink. You got none of that. Math, maybe? So your soulmate is either into or traumatized by swords and dead Dutch math artists? You sure know how to pick 'em, Sai snorts and you scowl. You didn't get to pick your soulmate, that's the entire point. I'm gonna have a nap, you declare and slide off his bony legs. Yeah, you need the recovery time. Come find me when you wake up, I'll make us snacks, Sai calls as you leave the room. You head back to your own room and crawl under your bed, pulling your soap lace bedding over you again. You run your fingers over your new mark and hope that your soulmate is gonna be okay.